Rob's the heat off in the house?
You know, this office is cold. I just literally ran and got my coat. You can see that, huh? Pandemic problems.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I have a big window in my office in City Hall, and it like radiates cold. I was freezing all day long.
Yeah, I run a space heater in the office as well too because it's like consistently about 61 degrees in my corner where I sit. I don't know why.
You have two windows?
Yeah, it's a big wall of windows, and it's at the end and the corner. And I think I have like there's a sweep underneath the whole building, the old school. I think one end is in one corner of my office. So after if I don't have the heater running, after like an hour or two, my hands start slowing down. I can't type fast.
Town clerk, special guest in the house tonight.
Hey, Kathy.
How are you?
Yeah, you're the town clerk, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm here to swear in Steve.
I know. Thank you for joining us. Thanks for taking time out of your day to be with us.
Sure.
Thanks, Kathy.
Is that Steve that called in with a 9517?
Yes.
Okay, great. Nice to meet you. I'm Rob Phillips, the Director of Planning and Community Development. I'm going to see if I can change your name here so we can.
Yeah, I was just trying to do that myself. I couldn't.
Hey, Steve, while we're waiting to get started here, we have about 6 minutes on the clock, but just so you know, the way we do these virtual meetings, almost the last year, is that as applications get presented, when we go to commission members' comments, I'll call out names so that we try to keep it in order, so that we don't have people who are trying to talk when someone else is. And I'll ask you if you have any comments or questions, and then you get an opportunity to ask any comments or questions. We'll go through the whole group once, open it up to the public, and then I'll come back to the commission. Well, we don't have a public hearing tonight, but and then I'll come back to the commission to see if they have any other questions before we take a vote. So, and of course, we need a motion in there. So.
And I guess the most recent update to WebEx, which removed my ability to unmute people unilaterally, has also changed my ability to rename participants.
All in the name of efficiency, Rob, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Mr. Santago, how you doing?
Spectacular. Yourself?
Oh, I don't know if I'm spectacular, but I'm doing all right.
Oh, well, me neither, but. Caleb.
Steve.
What's going?
Oh, it's plugging along. We got a couple new members. We met with PD, the watch leaders met with PD last week.
Yeah.
So we're kind of hoping to continue that relationship. You always want things to happen faster than they actually will. So
Sure.
It's a matter of just being patient and things will move along as they should.
Yeah, I'm part of the Flanders group, which is just a huge collection, a huge area. And it's because it's like all Flanders, Loper, and just all sorts of area over here.
So call the meeting to order. Rob, can you call the roll, please?
Sure. Commissioner Gorick?
Commissioner Gorick here.
Commissioner Locks? Commissioner Volpe? Alternate Albanese? Alternate Coles?
Alternate Coles present.
Alternate Coviello? Alternate Salvacool? Secretary Santago?
Santago's here.
Vice Chair Salka?
Salka here.
Chairman Hammersley?
Hammersley's here. I did hear from Christina Volpe, and she's not going to be attending this evening, so we'll see Commissioner Coles in her place. and also Commissioner Coles and Albanese will not be attending as well. I'm looking for a motion to appoint Steve Wolowski as a commission member to fill a seat vacated, a regular commission seat to be vacated. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve Steve Colwell as a permanent member of the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Motion by Commissioner Salka. Do we have a second?
Peter Santiago, I'll second.
Is there any discussion? Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Congratulations, Steve. Kathy Larkin has joined us this evening, town clerk, and she will now swear Steve in as a full member. Then Steve will take his rightful place amongst us.
Hey, could I have you stand, please? And raise your right hand. You solemnly swear you support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Connecticut, and you faithfully discharge according to law your duties with the Planning and Zoning Commission to the best of your ability, so help you God.
I will.
Congratulations, you're all set.
Thank you.
So now we do the applause.
Welcome, Steve.
It's not the same, Steve, with us being like this, but welcome aboard. We look forward to working with you over the coming months, and appreciate your willingness to help us and serve your town. So if we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Just one point of clarification. Are you seating Steve Wolowski as well, too, as the seventh member?
Yes, Steve should be seated as a seventh member. I thought that was done with him being sworn in. But
I just want to make sure I got that down. That's all.
Yes. See, Rob's got his flag up for us too.
Yeah,
So
no kids because they're eating dinner.
all right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
For which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty
and
and
justice
justice for all.
If you could all remain standing for a moment of silent reflection, please. Okay, thank you. Moving on to item number 7 on the agenda, looking for a motion to approve the minutes from our regular meeting on January 5th, 2021.
Make the motion to pass the minutes from the last meeting.
Motion for Commissioner Coles. Do we have a second?
Commissioner Salka, second.
Salka with a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? No opposed? Any abstentions? We got none. Motion passes. Moving on to the business meeting, item 8A, Alley Real Estate LLC, site plan modification application for 2-story office retail building property located at 1615 West Street in a WSB zone, parcel size 2.13 acres. Special permit number 1802. This was tabled from the last meeting on January 5th. I see Seb in the house there. Seb, you looking for a table on this one for today's meeting, I think? Seb, you got to unmute yourself.
I've sent the request.
He was unmuted for a second, but he's now muted again.
Seb, you're muted. You got to unmute yourself. Okay, let's try this. Seb, if you're looking for a table, why don't you give me a thumbs up?
Can you hear me now?
I can, yes, go ahead.
Okay. On behalf of the applicant, we request the tabling.
Okay, thank you. Is there any objection from commission members to that request? Seeing none, we'll do that. Thank you, Seb. Item 8B, Mount Southington, site plan modification application to remove existing ski school building and replace with a 2,820 square foot 2-story building property located at 396 Mount Vernon Road, parcel size 98.91 acres in an R80 zone. Special permit application number 1809. This was tabled from January 5th. Seb, I believe this is you as well.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commission members. My name is Seb Bovino, planner with Presser Jones and Associates. represented the applicant. The property is located at 396 Mount Vernon Road. It is zoned R2025 and R80. The first 200 feet of the property is R2025. The total acres is about 98 acres with multiple buildings. One of the buildings located in the southeast corner of the property, which is shown on the overall map, is used for a ski school. It is about 2,400 square feet. We propose to replace this building with a new one, which is more in keeping with the New England style architecture, and also to provide proper space for the ski school, which would include the personnel that teaches the kids, space for the 30 children that are normally using that, and additional storage for the facility for the ski area and employees' office space. The building will be slab on grade in the same spot. It'll be about 2,850 square feet, including the decking. This building will have a second floor, about 1,600 square feet. The use will be, as I said, the ski school, office, and storage. In the summer months, may be used for small parties and for the fest camp program. That's usually done at the Kelly School, and now they would like to go to the ski area because the school doesn't allow any fires on the property. This property is served by public water and septic system. No floor drains are proposed. No additional parking is needed because of the fact that we're not going to have additional employees. The number of children, as I said, there are 30. The lighting will be full cut off. The roof water will be directed to an underground storage for groundwater recharge. There will not be cooking taking place on in the facility. The small kitchen indicated on the plans will have a microwave, and any kind of food will be heated and served on paper plates and plastic utensils. We received wetlands approval and fire department. I spoke to the fire department. They're okay with the application. We received staff comments, responded in writing. All the appropriate notes and details are on the plan. If you have any questions at this time, I'll be glad to answer them.
Thanks, Ed. I'm just going to go through commission members and see if there's any questions. Let's start with Jeff Gwark tonight. Jeff?
This is Commissioner Gwark. I guess my only questions, Sev just answered at the end. I was just looking at the, fire department approval I saw. The health department was approved as well. And then my only other question would be the comments, and everybody got the responses to planning and engineering, but I guess that's all been done, and wetlands approval as well. So I really didn't have, much more than that, just besides he responded to all comments and he got the approval. So that's it for me. I don't have anything else.
Thanks, Jeff. Commissioner Coles?
Good evening, Seb. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
So a couple questions. The kitchen that you mentioned, is it a break room kitchen or supposed to be like a catering kitchen for some of the programs?
It's to heat the food for the program. It's not to cook, to provide the food for the general public. They have a separate restaurant where the barn is.
Okay. So for the staff, so to speak.
Yes.
Okay. And then is there a rendering that we can put up? A rendering that we can put up from the street side?
Yes, there is a rendering I submitted to the planning department. I don't know if Rob can put it up.
Rendering or site plan?
Rendering.
1 second here.
Yeah, it's a barn style type of building with a cupola on top.
And I'm about to share. And you should be able to see it now. Is that what you're talking about, Sev?
Yes, yes. And then I submitted additional views for the building too. and the interior layout. But that's what we're talking about. This phase is facing north. So as you come, if you enter the gate and you proceed south to go to the ski school, this is what you'll be looking at.
So can the building, and I'm trying to picture, those are there like 2 weeks ago with my son, and that's the direction that you would see it as you're coming from like check-in and you move down towards that area. But from street side, can you even see it from across the pond, or is it kind of tucked in behind the trees?
No, there's not a lot of trees, especially in the winter time. You can see it from the street. You will be able to see it.
Okay. All right, and that's really my questions. I appreciate you indulging me and just showing those pictures on the record.
Thank you.
You all set, Caleb?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Locks?
All my questions have been answered.
Thanks, Sue. Commissioner Wolowski,
My questions have been answered.
you all set?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks, Steve. Who do we have next? Commissioner Santago.
Thank you. So Seb, this is a demo and rebuild, right?
Yes, it's a replacement.
So for Rob, because it's a replacement, is that why this is in front of us versus a regular just building permit?
Yeah, I mean, it essentially arose, well, we thought it rose to the level of a site plan modification, correct?
Okay, all right. No, I don't really have anything. I think, Mount Sunnyton, for a lot of people, is the reason people think of Sunnyton or come to Sunnyton as a destination. So anything for me that we could do to enhance that and make it even better than it is, I'm all for it. So, I think it's a good thing. And thank you, Caleb, for asking for the picture. I think it's important for us to understand that, and I think that kind of shows it's in keeping with the style that's already on property, and we would want to have that for that. So thanks for that. Otherwise, Mr. Chairman, I don't have anything.
Okay, thanks, Peter. Commissioner Salka?
I have no additional questions. Thank you.
Okay. Seth, there's a mention of some clearing of some trees in the southeast corner in response to a comment by the planning department.
Yes, there's a small clearing in that corner, yes.
Okay. Approximately how many trees are we talking about, and will any of those be
It's
replaced?
really not a standard trees, it's more underbrush. They grew taller than your regular underbrush. Probably 2 or 3.
Okay. And the building that's being constructed after the demo is larger than the building that's currently there, correct?
Slightly larger, yes.
Is there any need to provide any additional parking? I think you said there's no additional parking plan for this?
No, because we don't have additional employees, and we have 430 parking spaces. And when you do the calculation based on the buildings and the use, we are required 172 spaces. So we provide way more than what we need, and we need spaces during the busy times. But we don't expect any problem with this because we're not adding any employees or anything.
Okay, and the any bathrooms included in this new facility?
Yes, and there's a subsystem, brand new subsystem designed to serve this building so the kids don't have to walk to the other building.
Will those bathrooms be ADA compliant?
Yes.
And the kitchen facility, I know that one of the questions that was asked by planning, I believe, was a reference to a kitchen. You responded that there's no kitchen facility. You kind of cleared that up with Caleb's questions earlier. It's just going to be a sink, microwave, that type of stuff, just to heat up food for the participants of the.
Yeah, there's no cooking.
There's no cooking, so but there's going to be a sink there.
Yes.
Okay, will that sink be ADA compliant?
The sink what?
Will the sink be ADA compliant?
Yes.
Okay. And I think that all the questions from planning and engineering have been answered. Is that right, Rob and Jim?
Correct.
Satisfactory?
Planning it.
Jim, you satisfied with the answers you've received?
Correct, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Well, I agree with a lot of the things that were said by Peter and especially and Caleb as well. I think that this enhances a town asset that we already have, and I'm happy to hear that it's going to be servicing the Fast Camp program, which is a community asset as well. So I'm happy to see this happening. And with that, is there any other questions from any other commission members? Seeing none, Rob, can you call the roll, please?
Need a motion first.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Peter. We have a motion to approve. I'm just trying to move it along here.
I know.
Can we get a motion to?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve SPR 1809.
Motion to approve for Commissioner Salka. Do we have a second?
Second, Commissioner Cole.
Second from Commissioner Coles. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Rob, can you call the roll, please?
Warwick,
Commissioner Glorick, yes.
Locke,
Commissioner Locke, yes.
Wallowski,
Commissioner Wallowski, yes.
Coles,
Commissioner Coles, yes.
Montego,
Santiago, yes.
Salka,
Salka, yes.
Hammersley.
Hammersley's a yes. Motion passes 7-0. Good luck. Thank you, Seb. This is a great asset. Appreciate the opportunity to weigh in. Steve, they will not all be that easy, I guarantee you. So but it gets your feet wet a little bit. So good job. Item 8C, Town of Southington, site plan application for the demolition of existing pump station building concrete pad, equipment and apparatuses, and the construction of a new precast pump station, related controls, concrete pad, fencing, stormwater management facilities, and landscaping Plansville Pump Station property located at 806 South Main Street in a CB zone, SPR number 1810. This was tabled from January 5th. Capone, who do we have here for this?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the Planning and Zoning Commission. This is Jim Grappone, Assistant Town Engineer. I'll just say some brief comments before I turn it over to the project team. This is an existing pump station that was built in 1973. It's reached its useful life from an equipment standpoint, and it's one of 9 pumping stations that the town owns and maintains in its wastewater collection system. It's located on a permanent easement at the rear of property owned by Volpe & Son Automotive on a permanent easement. With me this evening, I have Amy Sawicki, who's Ty and Bond's Senior Project Manager, and Joe Canis, who's Ty and Bond's Principal Engineer. We recently received approval from the Inland Wetlands Commission, and we're presenting this project for a replacement this evening. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Amy, and then she'll turn it over to Joe Canis. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jim. Amy, if you could just identify yourself and who you represent.
Sure.
Just so we get it on the record, please. Go ahead.
My name is Amy Sawicki, and I'm a professional engineer in Connecticut. I work with Ty and Bond with Joe Canis, who's here with me. And as Jim said, this is just a wastewater pump station replacement project that's part of the 2014 facility plan that Ty and Bond provided for the town. And if I could share my screen, I'll have these drawings up, and Joe can flip through the comments that were made that we've addressed in writing, and we'll go from there. So Joe, got the site plan up.
Okay, great. Thanks, Amy. For the record, my name is Joseph Canis. I'm a licensed professional engineer in the state of Connecticut. I am also a certified floodplain manager by the Association of State Floodplain Managers. I'm a principal engineer with Ty and Bond, and we're working with the town on the site plan for the pump station. So to guide you through what's going on here right now, I don't know if you've been out to the site, but there is an existing building there. It's a fairly small, looks like a shed. That building will be coming down. Let's see. So this is what it looks like in section view. So beneath that building is an actual, is a pump which pumps the received sewage to the wastewater treatment plant. So there's a whole lot more to that little shed than just being a tiny shed. There's a lot of equipment inside. So what the plan is to remove that building and to relocate the pump. And Amy's going to bring that drawing up in a second here. So the pump is that oval-shaped box there. Well, not a box, but what it is, it's got basically a big concrete chamber. A little bit of it sticks out above grade, has 2 aluminum diamond plate hatches on the top. And Amy's going forward to a cross section. So you can see there, the upper left is looking down on it. Below that, you'll see the equipment and the pipes and valves and things like that are inside of it. And then the right is a section of that. So what you'll see is the concrete, which will be flush with grade, and you'll see a couple vent pipes coming out of the ground, as well as those 2 hatches. So in addition to the pump, you need a method to control it, things to turn it on and off, change the rate, that sort of thing. So we also have a control box. If you go back to the site plan. So we have electrical controls. It's basically an aluminum cabinet that sits on a concrete pad. And we also have a generator, which is powered by natural gas. So you'll see that above ground also. So instead of seeing the building there, you're going to see a couple of boxes and one control box and a generator sticking out of the ground. Other than that, we're not proposing any new parking out here. We are proposing some additional stormwater management because this site is right next to the Quinnipiac River. We're at the top of the bank. The Quinnipiac River is to the west. So in recognition of the fact that we are in the riparian buffer there, we are providing some stormwater improvements. Right now, the stormwater just shoots off the site. So what we're doing now is doing some grading in that area, some minor grading to get the stormwater to pitch towards a proposed catch basin, which you see there in the southwest corner. And that will discharge to an underground infiltration chamber. That was sized to treat 1/2 of the water quality volume, which is a requirement based on the MS4 permit. And we did dig a test pit out there to determine what the depth of restrictive layer is and what the infiltration rate would be out there. So that was all accounted for in the design. And we'll also propose an enhanced planting buffer behind the fence. There's a new fence that also goes around this pumping station to protect it. But behind that, we're proposing a variety of different plants, mostly shrubs, to enhance the buffer there. And we're also adding a small paved area to accommodate plow turning movements. That's the only additional pavement that's being added. That's on the north side of the site. So our existing impervious coverage, before we start the project, is 2,776 square feet. Under proposed conditions, it'll be 3,351. So it is an increase of 575 square feet. But the important thing to point out here is that all that additional pavement that we're adding, the additional 575 square feet, as well as the existing pavement around the pump station, that is all going to be treated now as opposed to sheet flow directly into the Quinnipiac River. We do not have any floodplain impact. We are outside the floodplain. You'll see the floodplain boundary in the northwest corner there. We're outside of that. Like I said earlier, we're not proposing any additional parking. We did receive wetlands approval last week, or maybe the week before. I think it was on January 7th. And we did receive staff comments, which you have responded to in writing, which I can quickly go through. Let me just switch over here so I can see them. All right, the first comment was about lighting. We did confirm that the building will have full LED cutoff lighting. Another comment was about the filter bag for dewatering for sediment erosion control. We requested a pit place on a level surface, which we have done. The next one was to look for any hazard trees in the vicinity of the bank that could be addressed under this application. We did identify one, and we're working with engineering to make sure that gets removed. Given the use directly adjacent to the catch basin, we requested to provide a hood over the outlet, which we have provided, and we've modified those drawings. The project is also in the natural diversity database habitat area. So we did file with the Connecticut DEP, and they responded back that there were no, the project would not have any impact on species of concern. So that was good news. In addition, there was a comment that the location plan should have zones. So we did update the location plan. And we also added the erosion and sediment control contact name and phone number to the plans. And that happens to be Jim Capone. So I'm sure he's thrilled about that, but he is listed on the plans now. So if anything happens, Jim will be the first to know. And so those are all the comments that we did receive on this application. And we did respond in writing, and we also, we've delivered electronic copies of the plan. So that concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions the commission may have.
Sorry, I was on mute. Amy or Jim, anything to add to Joe's presentation, or are you all set?
No, I think Joe did an excellent job presenting it. Again, it's a vital component of our wastewater infrastructure, and it basically has reached its useful life and needs to be replaced. What we think is going to be out there is going to be a lot, less of an eyesore. We've been working with the Volpes as far as they made the request for the additional pavement to allow for plowing operations to be better there. So we're working with them on any of their concerns. So with that, we offer it out for questions.
Okay. Joe, I think you're the one who's sharing your screen. Could you just drop that just so, take it off the screen for us? Can you just stop sharing, please? Gives me a chance to see everybody. Okay, thanks. So let's start with Commissioner Gwark again. Commissioner Gwark, any questions?
This is Commissioner Gwark. Just like the last one, nothing much. Pretty straightforward. I like the updated stormwater management. It's nice to have instead of just runoff into the river. So that's about it for me.
Okay, thanks, Jeff. Commissioner Coles.
Good evening, Commissioner Coles here. A couple questions. What's the capacity of the tank underground?
I want to say upper 200 gallons per minute, upper 200, but Amy, I think you have that info.
Yeah, I think the capacity is over 500, but we'll be pumping out as soon as the high levels are hit, and that's at, I think, 260 gallons per minute.
And just to give a little more update on this wastewater gravity sewer that comes into the station collects most of Main Street, and then travels down an easement through, I want to say, the Hearthstone property, and then into the station to the rear of South Main Street.
Does this represent an expansion of capacity or just a simple switch for an old piece of equipment for a new one?
Part of the scope of tie and bond was to look at existing flow rates, but also work with the planning department to see what future growth is out there. So there's not much, I think, future growth in that area, but I'm sure a little factor was added to that, but that was part of the scope.
That's correct. We looked at future flows, we looked at open properties, and we reviewed those values with the existing station and the capacity.
Thank you. And so it's powered by a mechanical pump fed by a generator that's piped natural gas or propane tank?
The station is typically fed by electrical service from Eversource, but TR16, the wastewater guidelines, require a backup power, and that will be via a generator, which is natural gas.
Gotcha. Perfect. And I think the last question, you mentioned that there's a fence on the site. Is that architectural fence or more utilitarian chain link?
It'll be chain link. I think we decided with black plastic on it.
Okay, I think that's the last of my questions. Thank you. Thank you both for presenting in the chair.
Thanks, Commissioner Coles. Commissioner Locks?
Locks here. We're basically lifespan of this pump station.
Generally, like 30 years or so. So it's well beyond its useful life. The pump stations are, all of them are inspected on a weekly basis, and documented how they're running. So they're also, for redundancy, there's pressure transducers that are out there for added protection in the event that there's any issues with the station. So there's quite a bit of redundancy that's on the stations, just to make sure there's no catastrophic failure.
Okay. Very good. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Sue. You all set? Oh, all set. Okay. Commissioner Walowski? You got to unmute yourself, Steve. I think you muted. There you go.
Nothing from me at this time. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Steve. Commissioner Santago?
Thank you. Most of my questions have been answered. I guess just one thing from not that it's within our purview, but is this part of the existing budget? So there's no additional taxpayer expense for this thing, Jim?
Yes, it's part of the user budget with respect to the wastewater action budget, which is separate from the town budget. Generally, what we try and do, we've been doing, is one pump station per year, because our goal is to keep the costs under $1 million so we don't have to go out for a referendum.
Okay, so this is part of a continual review plan type thing, so no additional taxpayer expense. It's all within the, I'll say, overall scheme and overall plan here. Okay, good. Excellent. I don't have anything else, and I appreciate the very detailed explanation. So again, my thanks too for all that. I know a lot more about pump stations now than I did coming into the meeting. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Peter. Commissioner Salka?
I had two questions. One was the lifespan of that the pump station. That's been answered. The only question I have is the security around these pump stations. Jim, is there any kind of increased security in today's environment? Is there any cameras or anything that would reflect back, to you and notifying you if something is happening or if there are people trespassing?
The good thing about this station is we don't have cameras generally on our stations, but this one is set far back, but it's on the Volpe property, which is, they go in and out of there quite frequently, even during the evening hours. The police department, I'm sure, makes stops in the area of it, but we've never really had any vandalism. Again, it's fully fenced in, so we believe security. There's lighting, as was mentioned in the proposal. So we feel that it's the control is there.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's my only questions.
Okay, thanks, Bob. I don't really have any questions other than what's been asked. On the fencing, is that you mentioned a black chain link fence. Is that black slats, or is it just a black chain link fence without slats?
Chain link with black plastic on the wiring, so you're not going to see the slats. You're going to see the black. It's not like a metallic fence.
Okay. Any further questions for members of the commission? Jim, Amy, Joe, anything else you want to say?
No, I think we're all set, and we thank you for this opportunity.
Thanks, Jim. As always, you do a great job representing our town well with our engineering group. Rob, all the planning comments have been answered to your satisfaction?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Do we need a roll on this, Rob, or we can do a voice vote on this one?
On the pump station, no, I would do a roll.
Okay. Seeing no further questions from members of the commission, Rob, can you call the roll, please?
Do we
Need a motion.
Do we need a motion?
I'm in a funk today, guys. I don't know. Can we get a motion on this application?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve SPR 1810.
Got a motion to approve from Commissioner Salka. Do we have a second?
Second, Locks.
Second from Commissioner Locks. Any further conversation or discussion? Seeing none, Rob, can you call the roll, please?
Warwick,
Commissioner Glorick, yes.
Locks,
Commissioner Locke.
Walowski,
Walowski, yes.
Cole,
Coles, yes.
Centego,
Centego, yes.
Salka,
Selka, yes.
Hammersley.
Hammersley's a yes. Motion passes 7-0. Moving on to item, great job, guys. Moving on to item 8D, 824 referral for the purchase of 766 South Main Street in the amount of $40,000. MR number 560. Commissioner Salka, do you want to talk to us about what this is?
I can give you a little background on this piece of property. I'm sure you all know where it is, downtown Plantsville. Basically, the Zomer family has offered it to the town for a cost of $40,000. The assessed value is $66,000. As part of the contract, it is stated in the contract that this piece of property, and we'll call it land acquisition versus open space, but it's land acquisition. And in the contract, it basically says it'll be used as a mini park for the town of Plantsville for the beautification of Plantsville. The interesting thing that I learned in talking with the town manager and Paul Chaplinsky was that on any open space property, and this one we can talk specifically about, it's acquired by the town with town money. It's acquired with the money that was used at referendum, the last referendum. And that's why it's called open space and land acquisition. What that really means, though, even though it says open space, that property will initially be used as open space and a mini park, as in the contract. But if a developer was to approach the town and say, I would like to purchase that piece of property and build a business or a commercial building on that piece of property, and the town council agrees with that, the town council has the liberty of selling that piece of property to that developer at an open meeting of the town council, which I was not aware of. I would just assume that open space was open space forever, but that is not the case. As long as there is no state money, and if the state was to use some of their money, or we were to use some of the state grant money, it would be stipulated that it has to be open space, passive recreation. In this case, in some of the other cases of the property that we purchased with town money, that is not necessarily the case. So I just want to make sure you're aware of that, because I was not aware of it. And I think it's important to know as we get some of these 824s that come before us. But again, I've asked Rob at our open space and land acquisition committee meeting. Paul Chaplinsky put up a couple of pictures, or actually four photos of what is envisioned by the town council for this piece of property. It's basically, we'll have a wall around it, or not around it, but a wall with some seating, plantings for somebody to take a cup of coffee or sit down and just enjoy the environment. But these are a couple of the pictures that the town council has envisioned, and within the wall would be embedded a sign that would say Plantsville. So it just kind of nice, it'd be a nice touch for that piece of property downtown. So that's it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Salka. You did a great job as always. So on this one, I'm just going to open up the floor. If there's any members of the commission that have any comments that they'd like to make, we'll let them do that. Just remember to mute yourself and probably identify who you are for the recording secretary. Let's Commissioner Santiago, go ahead.
I didn't steal it at all.
Caleb could go. It's fine. He was
Okay. Commissioner Coles, go ahead.
Okay, Commissioner Coles. Hopefully, I don't steal all of Pete's questions. So the site, and it's been a while since I remember building there. I was pretty young. But historically speaking, is there any site contamination issues there that we might be buying ourselves into?
I think that's a question you'd have to, I don't know the answer to that. I think that's a question for Rob and maybe even Jim Capone.
Rob Phillips, I'm not aware of any, whenever the town is going to take possession of a property, we do look at trying to obtain a phase 1 site assessment, environmental site assessment, just to verify that there's nothing that we need to look at further in the phase 2 or investigation. Jim, I don't know if you have anything more to add on that.
No, you're correct, Rob. As part of the due diligence of the town, we'd be doing a phase 1 environmental.
And so that would come after we vote. You would check into that.
Yeah, it's part of the land acquisition process.
Okay.
So it goes back to town council after we vote.
And just keep in mind, it goes back to the town council for the actual spending of the money. So
Gotcha.
they would have to do that environmental before they would spend it.
That was my big question. Thank you.
You all set? Good job. Hope you didn't take a question, Mr. Santaco.
No, but he made me feel how old. He made me feel how old I am because I do remember when there was a
I know.
building there. Last time it was Tiffany House, and I think my name was engraved on the bar there. So I was well familiar with that site.
Public property. What's he doing?
Yeah, I was well familiar with the site. Thank you for making me feel old, Kill. So, initially I had a lot of heartburn about this because, for me it was between two parties. Because the party that's having the cars ram into their building has an issue and it goes through the other thing. So ordinarily, I don't think in the grand scheme of things, this property would have been on our radar if that situation did not occur. So for me, it's like, why we spend the $40,000 of the town money when two parties could solve it? That said, I guess one of my questions is, okay, you build a wall there, and the wall, let's face it, the wall ain't there for beautification. The wall's there for prevent people to go into the building. That's why you're building a wall, and you're making it look nice and put plants on it. So I guess my legal question is, all right, now the town owns the property. Car goes into the wall. Have we just increased our liability?
Mr. Chairman, Jim Grappone, I'd like to comment on that if I could.
Good, please.
Again, I think any fixed object that's within the town right-of-way, state right-of-way is a liability issue. But I believe, according to the statute, that we have immunity against that. But again, a sharp attorney is still going to sue whoever has the deepest pockets or has pockets.
Okay.
The comment on, we actually have gotten a grant for the beautification project at almost $3 million. That project hopefully will be bid sometime in the mid to late fall of this year. As part of that beautification project, this allows us the opportunity of that area to act as a pocket park or an outside dining area. I think would be perfect for this area. Revitalize and give a little boost to that area of town.
Yeah.
As you can see, some of the homeowners or business owners have already started putting money into their buildings. So I think with the project, it's going to provide more impetus on really revitalizing this area.
Yeah, and that was the other side of it, because at first I was like, we're spending $40,000 on this, but then I was like, well, if, as Commissioner Salka said, it can be used as a mini park or something for the beautification of downtown Plantsville and enhance that area. And if that area is enhanced, maybe the other businesses are enhanced, then I could see that for the town to be a good thing. I was surprised, and I didn't know, Commissioner Salka, thank you for informing us about land acquisition and how it could go back to being a business. So that kind of gives me a little agita, because if it's going to be a mini park, I'd like it to stay that way. But that's not up to us. But if this can indeed be added to make it look good, because right now it's kind of an eyesore. I mean, ever since the building got down, it's been an empty lot, and a lot that's not used for anything. You don't even park there. So it's taking away from Plantsville in its current state. And so I kind of came around to the fact, if I kind of get through my initial what are we doing mode and then kind of take it forward, I think it can be good for the town. It can enhance the downtown feel of Plantsville. And Plantsville has some nice things going as it is with Halloween and, Christmas and a lot of things like that. So I think that end of it probably can be used. Like you said, I didn't even think outdoor dining, Jim. I think that's, and the way things are going, we're only going to be eating outside these days. But I think it can be added to enhance Plantsville goes. So I think, personally, I've come full circle, and thank you, Commissioner Salka, for the explanation.
Okay. You all set, Peter?
I'm done, Bob.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm good.
Thanks. Any other commissioner with any other comments or questions?
Mr.
Jeff
Chairman,
Glorick,
it's
I can't see
Commissioner
you.
Glorick.
Go ahead. I was going to ask. Go ahead.
Is there any objection or problem if I happen to abstain from this vote? Just in there's any off chance I've done environmental work for the town of Southington in the past, and I don't want any. If they open up a bid and I put a bid in, is it all right if I abstain from this?
Sure.
All right, you can abstain from anything you want to. I
Okay.
I think you're recusing yourself.
Should I recuse myself completely from it then?
I would, if that's what you're looking to do. Abstaining is just not voting.
Okay. I would like to recuse myself from this item then on the agenda.
There we go. So the record will reflect that Commissioner Glorick is recused from this agenda item.
All right, thanks.
And I don't have anyone to replace you with, so we'll just leave it vacant with quorum, however. Any other questions for members of the commission? I'll commend the town council, the Open Space Commission, Commissioner Salka, Jim Grappone, and Rob Phillips on this. I think that they did a great job. I think that this is a great opportunity for that section of town. And Jim, my only question is, you mentioned the beautification project that I think is currently somewhere in design or soon to be in the construction bidding phase. Remind me who's doing that for you. What firm are you working with on that?
Jim Grappone again. We're working with Weston and Sampson on this.
Okay, Weston and Sampson. And is this parcel factored into that design, or is this sort of a bonus that will be added in should the town council decide, should we decide and the town council subsequently decide to purchase this piece of property?
It's separate from their scope, Mr. Chairman. We actually had Public Works design and estimate a park there. And as part of the enhancements, what's included in the design is benches, decorative lighting, trash receptacles, everything that you see in downtown Southington, you'll see in downtown Plantsville with respect to this project.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of work going down there in the future, and I think that's a good thing. And so that's my only comment. If there's no other comments from members of the commission, I'll ask for a motion on this item.
Mr. Chairman, I'll motion that we approve MR 560.
Got a motion to approve from Commissioner Salka. Do we have a second?
I'd like to second that
I'd like to
motion.
make a favorable referral of the 824.
Say that again, Sue.
I said I'm making a motion to make a favorable referral of the 824.
Okay, we'll take that as
That's what normally you do.
okay. So we have a motion for a favorable referral from Commissioner Locke. Do we have a second to that? Bob Solka, she just reworded, I think, what you were saying, so,
That's fine.
okay, can we get a second to Sue Locke's motion?
I'll second that motion. Commissioner Coles.
Commissioner Coles makes a second. This is a voice vote, Rob Phillips, yeah?
Yeah, unless you feel you have to record the vote for the reason. Otherwise, it's voice vote fine.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes. We have Jeff Gork was recused from that, so Jeff, you can come back to us now.
Commissioner Gork, I'm back. I didn't go far.
Good job. Item number 9, administrative items. I see nothing listed there. Rob Phillips, anything?
No.
Okay. Item number 10, we have a couple items, or one item scheduled for a public hearing at this time.
Yeah, the first car wash at the corner of Meriden Waterway and Meriden Avenue. That's scheduled for public hearing on February 2nd. The receipt of new applications. We have, obviously, I just mentioned the car wash and 830G application on Lanning Street, which we're tentatively scheduling for February 6th. I have to go through the submission and see if it's complete. We also have other ones that came in recently. In the last agenda was created, and that's our grandparent apartment on 157 Whistling Straits. That'll be on the 16th for a public hearing. And Live Well SPU and site plan, which is down by Sliders. It's the Alzheimer's facility. That'll be we're putting that on for special permit on the 2nd. It just came in, but we'll be able to fit it on in an effort to try to space these things out so we don't have too many public hearings on one agenda. As the chairman mentioned, Steve, this was going to be probably your shortest meeting you might ever experience.
Rob, the 820. Yeah. Rob, the 830Gs usually have a clock that starts.
Well, they all.
So did the clock start on that? By us moving the meeting, are we shortening it? How does that work?
No, every application has a clock. Anything that has a special permit, site plan, zone change, what have you. We have 55 days of scheduled public hearing upon official receipt by the commission. So a statutory receipt is either the next regularly scheduled meeting or 35 days. In each case, it's officially received tonight, and we're going to schedule the 16th. But in the meantime, I'm having a meeting tomorrow to go over the submission to make sure that they can provide us what it is required to provide us with.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Thanks, Peter. Okay, so that's item 10 and 11. Anything else from the commission before we go into executive session? Seeing none. So this is the way this is going to go, Rob.
Oh, sorry. I was going to make sure that what we would do is we're going to end this meeting. We're going to leave this meeting, and then we're going to go and open up the meeting that I sent out. The invitation details that I sent out directly to the commission members. And then Chairman Hammersley, if you'd like to make sure that you're inviting myself, obviously the town attorney, and councils that were hired for it.
I'm going to get to that in a second. I just wanted to discuss logistics on this. So we, by the agenda flow, we would come back out of the executive session and back into the public public thing. But we'll just adjourn this and then go into executive session.
Yeah, well, we're just going to do it that way. And what I'll do is I'll make sure I communicate with Linda the time that we come out of executive session, and then a motion in a second to just end the meeting. It's just a formality. It's not something we've got to capture on the record.
Yeah. So just for the record, we don't have anything else we'll be taking up after the executive session. And at this time, we'll entertain a motion for an executive session to discuss pending litigation and real estate matters. We're going to include in that invite beyond commission members, our town attorney, Jeremy Taylor, as well as 2 attorneys that have been involved in a pending litigation matter. Commissioner Gork, I think, is recused from this as he recused himself from one of the matters. If there's any other matters that come up in the executive session beyond that matter, Rob, someone has to be responsible to let Jeff know what that might be.
Yeah.
So between you and I guess we'll work that out. But if we can get a motion to go into executive session, please.
So moved.
Motion from
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Santaldo.
Commissioner Gwarick, do you want me to just leave and I'm not going to come back for adjournment only, am I? What do you
We're
want
not
me?
going to do an adjournment like that, Jeff.
All right.
Yeah, you're all set, I think.
All right. Have a good night, guys.
Thanks.
See you,
We have
Jeff.
A motion from Commissioner Santaga. Do we have a second?
Commissioner Salka.
A second from Commissioner Salka. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. We're going to go into executive session. I'll see you all shortly.
So technically, we leave this meeting and go into the other one?
Yes.
Exactly. And if anybody has a problem, just send me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.